Last night, Giannis Antetokounmpo looking a lot better than that. 32 points, 18 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals last night. Big win over Philadelphia. And guys, look, the Sixers have started the season 2-3. Y'all were saying in the earlier segment we expected Toronto to be so good. Well, the real conversation, if everyone's going to be honest, going into the season was Boston, Philly, and can Toronto break into that? And now it's Toronto, Boston, and can Philly break into that, right?
I knew Toronto, but Philly was just missing something. I never really had high praise on Philly because
they had a good run at the end of last season. They didn't easy
last season. I'm talking about coming into this season because they lacked shooting. They didn't get any better. They didn't get any better. Their core group was brought back.
The loss of Belinelli and Ilyasova hurt them.
Right.
They don't have any shooting.
They were shooters, they were ball movers, and they brought great chemistry. They were veterans. And the loss of them is showing right now because all the pressure's on Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to perform at a high level.
Every single night, and they just can't do it.
He has to be a little more consistent as that third guy. Right now it's J.J. Redick, but they need Sarge to
Think about it. They didn't get better.
Well, so
Milwaukee, as crazy as this sounds, brought in Brook Lopez. You see what he was able to do last night. He stretched the floor. He hit 5 straight three-pointers.
Maybe a little addition.
Toronto
added
Kawhi Leonard. Right. I mean, these teams added. Boston Celtics, I know they got their 2 guys were out last year where Kyrie played half of the season, but they got Gordon Hayward back and they got Kyrie back. So
but what you're saying, that roster stuff, that's on ownership. Because they didn't get a GM, they didn't put Elton Brand in place until the end of the summer. So at that point, you're just, you can't compete with GMs who are operating around the league. I want to talk about the Celtics, too, because they face the Thunder tonight. They dropped a home game against the Magic on Monday that drew a lot of eyebrows. Boston's offense struggling again, despite Kyrie Irving. He was better in this game, a season-high 22 points. Brad Stevens said, I quote, I think Toronto is clearly better right now. We're going to have to show some growth. And like low-key, coaches kind of like being able to say this, right? Because they like being able to tell their players, you're not all that. What do you guys think is wrong with the offense, though?
Well, the difference between Toronto and Boston right now, Toronto knows who their guy is.
Right.
They know Kawhi is their guy. So now we're like, is Kyrie the guy? Is this year that Tatum becomes the guy? How does Gordon fit in with all this? They got 2 new pieces in Kyrie and Gordon because they weren't there for all of last season and half the season for Kyrie. So they're trying to implement those guys. And once they figure out each and everybody's role, then they'll get better.
They have a lot of depth, a lot of talent on this team, a lot of guys that can score the ball, right? So you take roughly 40 points out of your lineup last year, and these young guys are able to get a rhythm. They have a balance that they created amongst themselves
Tracy,
when those 2 guys are out.
I think you're both right, but my counter to that point is only that there are 30 teams in the NBA, and there are only 2 of them that aren't averaging at least 100 points a game right now, and Boston is one of those.
Well, he just made a great point. They really still trying to figure out who their guy is.
Right.
They have to understand sacrifice. They got to be like, all right, tonight may not be my night. It may be this guy's night or his night, and I have to be able to accept that.
So do you think there's going to be one guy who emerges, or do you think it's going to be this guy's night, that guy's night?
That's how it should be. With me, Kevin, and Ray, we just knew it wasn't going to be my night every night. It wasn't going to be Kevin, Ray, so it may be Ray's night, so we're going to feature him. It may be Kevin's night, we're featuring him, and that's what they have to figure out. Because there's so much depth. It may be Marcus Smart night, and he's the feature tonight, and everybody takes a step back to him, so they have to figure that out.
I do think you do. Yes, absolutely. And look, we were talking about at the beginning of the show with the Warriors, right? Might be KD's night, might be Steph's night.
This is their night every night.
But it certainly could be Steph's night. I think to your point, though, Paul, they do have to kind of figure out who's deferring to who a little bit. Mm-hmm. We saw that with the Miami Heat when they first got together in 2011. Who's deferring to who between the 2 of those guys? So they'll get there.